Joining me at the Jaipur Literature Festival today, Mr. Partha Sengupta, Vice President of Tata Steel, which is now one of the biggest, if not the biggest, sponsors of the Jaipur Literature Festival. This great, huge industrial giant, Tata Steel, it's not something one quite easily associates with an intellectual melting pot of culture and books such as the Jaipur Literature Festival. How did this linkage between these two organizations come about?
I think the very fact that you mentioned that the two don't seem to link easily was actually the essence behind our participating in this Jaipur Literature Festival. We've been thinking and toying with the idea as to how to project or how to talk about Tata Steel and make Tata Steel a subject as dry as steel to make it interesting and appealing to people. And I think that's where the thought struck on that, in order to hit the real mind of the people is important. And if you look at the history of Tata Steel, it is nothing new. The Tata Group per se, and also Tata Steel, which is a part of the group, has always been associated with front-running values, activities associated with values, literature associated with values, and all the rest of it. I think its founder has been a doyen of this art, and I think the tradition continues till today, and we are very strongly embedded in this one. So when we came to know more about the Jaipur Literature Festival, we thought that this was a wonderful forum by which we could meet a whole lot of people, directly or indirectly, and conveying this thought of values and what Tata Steel and the Tata Group really stands.
You've expanded into a virtual takeover with an explosion of color and carnival of values, the tents, the marquees, the lanterns. I mean, they're all, Tata Steel is everywhere. So how is this growth in 2 years in your association developed?
I think when we came into the Jaipur Literature Festival, it was tentative because we wanted to gauge as to what is the kind of response that we get, kind of people whom we meet, the spectrum of society that we meet, national or global. And I think our first association which we were with last year was very satisfying. And I think that is where we thought that it is a very, very good forum for us to come through with our ideas, not related to an usual product, get together like this that would happen. But it was a meeting of minds, it was a meeting of like-minded people. And that's where I think we found the connect.
I like this meeting of minds. Steel is one of the hardest things in the world. The life of the mind of a literature festival is soft. Was that part of the reasoning? This kind of two polar opposites?
Yes, actually, if I were to draw an analogy, steel may be hard in appearance, but it's actually soft inside. It's the people, the technology, the values, all of it which goes towards making of steel. And I think if you look at our operations, which spread from our mining operations right down to steel making, our association is always with people, to understand them, work with them, work through them, to make it into finally a product which is called as steel. And that's where the resonance was. And I think that's where we found Jaipur Literature Festival, as you called it, the melting pot, and we called it as a meeting of like-minded people, and we found there's a perfect connect between the two. So we therefore expanded our presence here, and we thought it was good. When we came last year, we also saw a large number of young people. Steel is associated as being staid, it's boring, supposedly. So we thought we could make it interesting, make it more colorful, make it more approachable,
more youthful.
More useful. So that's why you see all the color and all that is associated.
Carnival of values. Your key word or tagline, catchline, is now values. You go further. You say values stronger than steel. And Valueabled, this new portal that you've set up, is very specifically youth-oriented. How have these ideas expanded and grown in the last 24 months?
You see, as we said, that values, it has been always part of our psyche. The whole Tata Group psyche has been around values. and it's around building business around values. And we really believed in all aspects of values, whether it was the human aspect, whether it was the social aspect, whether it was the business aspect. And that's why we thought that possibly something as hard as steel could in a way signify the strength of our values that we believe in. So that was what was the thought process behind it. But as we said, steel and steel industry is associated with something of the past. IT is more savvy, or some services industries are more savvy. But, how do we convey to the younger people that we are different?
Or as younger people today we would say, happening and happening now.
That's right. So I think that's where we came in, and that's where we thought that this Valueable was an excellent, valueable.com is an excellent forum, because you will find youngsters spending more time with their little phones around, talking, chatting with people. And we said that why are we not in the middle of the social media circuit which is going around? And that's where the thought process of Valueable actually started to come in. The whole idea behind Valueable was, apart from extending our values, we also thought the reverse. It says that one rotten apple can cause a problem in the whole basket. But our approach was different. We thought one good apple can actually cause a whole lot of change. If you look at the Indian population and Indian children, Indian psyche as such, are we really all that walk? The answer is no. The whole answer is how to build a force so that we can go up and stand against that so-called degradation of values that is happening. And we thought that it could be an excellent forum by which we could get like-minded people together, build a force multiplier, and stand up for its values that India has always stood for, and of course the group only assists it.
Literature Festival, as you say, attracts people from around the world. And like steel, literature is a global business, and people from around the world, writers, literary agents, authors, booksellers, publishers come here. So in a way, it's not unlike your industry. Yet, when you began last year and decided to increase and intensify your participation, what did you actually observe in terms of response at the festival? You talk of reaching out to people all over India and around the world. What was that experience like that convinced you that you've got to take this further?
I think any such step that you take or any such measure that you take is always measured in terms of the feedback or the resonance that comes. Feedback is a very clinical term, so I wouldn't really use the word feedback. It's the response, it's the resonance that comes. And we found that our tagline of values stronger than steel and our association here actually spread all around the globe. As you know, as a steel company also, we are present in 26 countries, and many people came back and talked about Tata Steel being present and associated with literature, which was a bit of a surprise for them. But they thought it was wonderful. And that's what actually made us think through that this is possibly a forum which could grow in strength. This year's experiments with Valueable and the more of the work that we have done should give us a further strengthening of the belief that we have. And if it goes well, we are here for sure, for keeps.
That's fantastic. So in marketing terms, basically in strategic terms, the point that you're emphasizing is that forums like the Literature Festival at Jaipur really give you value for money, or to put it more colloquially, full bang for your buck.
Absolutely right. But the greater pleasure, it's not associated really with the money that is spent. The greater pleasure is being associated with the good things of life. To look at life positively, to look at Indian society, look at the people around the world, and they get together and talk of good things. There is always a resonance in the air. I was told that there's some chanting session in the morning where people feel good. It's something like that. So you are all part of that, and that's what the group is all about.
And a quick personal question, sir, you are Bengali. One of the most powerful intellectual traditions and cultures in the world, very literary tradition. Did that play a part in taking this decision?
Not really. I think we have passed all that. We are now global citizens. So it doesn't really make a difference where you are, but I think the concept is fantastic. The Literature Festival is wonderful. And we have found our space under the sun because we found like-minded people, and that was what the great part was all about.
Well, two great organizations have found their place in the sun in the Pink City. Mr. Tata Sengupta, thank you so much for talking to me today. All the very best.
Thank you very, very much.